Ladies and gentlemen, we return to the action here inside MGM Grand in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. This is boxing. This is Top Rank, presented by Hall of Fame boxing promoter Mr. Bob Arum. This bout is scheduled for 4 rounds in the junior featherweight division. Our judges at ringside, John McKay, Chris Migliori, and Dave Moretti. And the man in charge at the sound of the bell, Mr. Tony Weeks. Fighting out of the blue corner, he weighed in at 123.5 pounds. Wearing red trunks with black trim, he brings a record of 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. One of those victories coming by way of knockout. From Laredo, Texas, Steve Garagarza! Fighting out of the red corner, he weighed in at 123.8 pounds. Wearing pink trunks with burgundy trim, he brings a perfect record, 2 wins, no losses. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Rashiem Jefferson!
Okay, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in your dressing room. Okay. Okay, right here is good on the belt line is good. Right here on the belt line is good. Okay, I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go. Yep.
Tony Weeks, the third man in the ring tonight. Christina Poncher and Chris Algieri here with you. Thank you for joining us on ESPN Plus. Wherever you're watching around the world, we have a great card for you with a lot of talented young prospects, including this man right here in the red and pink trunks, Rashiem Jefferson, taking on Steve Garagarza in the red trunks.
Wow, the height difference looks even more pronounced here than it did at the weigh-in. Ooh, that right hook might have shook Garagarza a little bit.
Rashiem Jefferson, trained by his father, who is Rashiem Jefferson Sr., who was a amateur standout and a professional boxer himself before a motorcycle accident ended his professional career in 2008 with a record of 15-1-1, and now he is training his son and doing so very well as he's created quite a buzz in the Philly gyms and in the Philly area. A lot of people excited about the professional career of his son, Rashiem Jefferson.
He's looking good so far. He's using his height and reach very well, taking little half steps back, hitting Garagarza as he comes in and staying out of range. Good stuff so far from Jefferson.
Working well off the jab. You can tell the reach difference is quite significant as well. Jefferson using every bit of that 72-inch reach.
But not just throwing one punch either. He's throwing combinations. I like what he's doing so far. A lot of times guys who are long and tall and rangy like that will just use their jab or just do the 1-2. Jefferson's mixing his punches up well. And
down to the body and back up to the head as he snaps back the head of Garagarza on that combination. And that's something he said after watching his last fight in the bubble that him and his father worked on. He said he wants to be better all around and work off the jab, but just maybe throw a few more combinations, put his punches together. And so far, so good for Jefferson.
I agree. Really good so far.
Garagarza's tough, though. He's taking the shots well, continues to just stand there in the pocket.
Good eyes from Jefferson there. Catching, rolling, answering back, especially with the body work. That body work, I believe, had an effect. That body shot definitely hurt Garagarza.
As he backs up against the ropes. So Tony Weeks is taking a close look at this as Jefferson continues to tee off. Garagarza's got to show him something at this point.
More good body work. I like that little move that Jefferson does there. He rolls with the shot and comes right back with his own.
Very skilled in that regard. Back and forth between his offense and his defense as he gets back to teeing off on Garagarza up against the ropes. Garagarza, though, doing enough to keep himself in this fight as Tony Weeks is backed off. Lets these guys continue to work and work the body quite well, has Jefferson in round 1.
Jefferson fights well on the inside for a tall guy. You know, he's got his eyes open. He's very aware. He's judging the range well. Good opening round.
Nice counter left hand.
Whenever I drew a Philly guy,
they're going to bring it.
Yep, they're always tough.
The sparring session, some of those sparring sessions in those Philly gyms are better than some of the fights you see on TV. I mean, you don't have a choice when you're from Philly but to be a fighter.
Don't hold him.
Professional or not.
Right. Ooh, good body shot again from Jefferson. Oh,
Garagarza starting off round 2 pretty strong. Connected there with the left hook. Oh, and a good left hook connects from Jefferson.
Jefferson rolling under shots, hitting 2 body shots, rolling again, 2 more body shots, straight left hand up top. Good stuff. Ooh, good
He's got to bring that right hand back up to hold that phone, though. He's getting clipped a couple times here with the left hand from Garagarza.
Not afraid to mix it up, which is no surprise, like you said, being from those Philly gyms and those Philly gym wars.
Really nice long jab, yes.
Very consistent body work so far from Jefferson.
I mentioned in his walkout, you see R.I.P. Bessie on the trunks of Jefferson. He is dedicating this fight to his grandmother who passed away from cancer in 2016.
Good roll, shoulder rolls, keeping that upper body rhythm going. But then he always comes back. Defense and offense together, counters well.
Fighting inspired tonight by her, and you can tell as he's taking it up a notch from the last time we saw him just a month ago. A fight where he could have had just a tad bit more sense of urgency. That was the only thing we kind of took away from that, is he won every round, but maybe could have stepped it up a little bit more, and he has done that so far through halfway through the fight here nearly.
If anything, it's an overcorrection. He's being more aggressive than maybe he needs to. I would like to use him fight a little longer, like he started out in round number 1, but he's staying in the pocket quite a bit.
He hasn't shown much concern for the power of Garagarza, although he has landed a few left hands here. And then there's a right to the body, but nothing that has seemed to affect Jefferson at this point.
Garagarza is a tough guy. He's just coming forward, walking through whatever, just so he can land. Pretty much that left hook is really the shot he really wants to land.
He has 5 professional fights.
Don't hold him.
2 of them against guys with winning records.
And some good shots to the inside.
Oh, sure is. Got it. Yep. And a right uppercut. Yep. That's where maybe Jefferson could give himself a little bit more space, work a little bit more in that middle.
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't need to be there and take all those punches, even if they're hitting on the gloves or the shoulders or whatever. When you got that reach advantage, you might as well use it. All fights start at a distance.
And that's something I think also takes these guys a little bit more time in their transition. We talk about the transition and the power shots and putting together the combinations for power, and then just mastering that distance. I mean, that does take time, first part of that, but he was saying, like, I hate it, I hate it.
Yeah.
It was probably how much time
you spent on the inside, I would imagine.
Yes, I would have to agree with you. Halfway through the scheduled 4, Christina Poncher and Chris Algieri here with you. The second fight of the night as we enter closer to our main event for the vacant WBO world title, Emmanuel Navarrete and Ruben Villa.
And I think you're absolutely right about that corner instruction, because you see already Jefferson's coming out, popping that southpaw jab, moving laterally and looking to counter. Fighting at distance once again. That left hook again from Garagarza.
He has got caught consistently with that left hook. Not too much damage taken from it, but something I'm sure when he goes back and watches the tape, they'll work on.
Garagarza in the first round, he got stung. I think got hurt to the body a little bit. But maybe in the second round kind of decided that he's okay with getting hit with these shots as long as he can land his own. And really, it's been that left hook that he's really looking for.
And something else to mention, the notes and the books on Jefferson talk about him being a right-handed fighter, but he's fighting southpaw for a lot of this fight, and switches kind of back and forth. So something else that, oftentimes when these guys switch and they haven't perfected it quite yet, obviously this is only his 3rd professional fight, there's a lapse in something in the stance that's not your natural stance. And if that's, defense or which is usually the case, you just got to tighten those things up if you're going to switch.
Yeah, I think I'm not surprised to hear that he's actually right in just from watching. He's not turning over the left hand like he would if that was his dominant hand. He's very, very busy with the right hand, which allows for the openings for that left hook over the top, which is what Garagarza has had any success with. So it makes sense. Nice.
Corner calling for the uppercut. Is Jefferson's corner. And he's opened a cut over the left eye of Garagarza here in round 3.
I would imagine on the strength of those right hooks that he's been slinging since the opening bell. Very nice adjustment from Jefferson in this round. Coming out, boxing from the outside, looking to counter, not get mixed up in exchanges like he did in round number 2. That cut must be bad. That bled a lot right away.
No talking, no talking.
Garagarza has Mike Basil as his cut man in the corner. Mike the Mechanic Basil and Jacob Stitch Duran have been the 2 staff cutmen this whole time inside the top rank bubble. Each fighter at the weigh-in draws the name out of the hat of which cut man they're going to get, and they've been there the whole time. Kudos to Brad Goodman and Bruce Trampler and the top rank guys, and a big step up for Elvis at this point in his 10th professional fight.
Well, it just shows how much confidence there is behind Rodriguez to have him take this kind of a step-up fight so early on.
The 4th and final round, Rashiem Jefferson and Steve Garagarza. It's been pretty much a shutout here for Jefferson, aside being caught from a couple good left hands from Garagarza.
Mostly in round number 2.
Particularly in round number 2, and then a cut opened up in round number 3. Rashiem Jefferson is 2-0, no knockouts yet in his professional career. With that being said, the only 2 losses that Garagarza has faced have both been by decision.
Garagarza is definitely a tough guy, and not for nothing, Jefferson did hurt him in the first round. I do believe that, like I had alluded to last round about Jefferson not turning over that left hand, the way that you would for someone who's naturally, a southpaw. So,
yeah, again in the southpaw stance here in round 4, and if he fights too much more like this, he's bought a lot of southpaw. I'm going to just scratch my orthodox notes out and make him a southpaw. I battle with that calling Terrence Crawford fights as well. Another guy that switches or will stay round after round in a particular stance like orthodox if he sees something, but I think that they like when Rashiem Jefferson is working off the jab, even if it's off his back foot. They say, I like what I see, keep boxing.
Stop.
I do too. I'd rather see him fight at length and use his range, use his boxing ability, counter on the outside, make your man miss, keep touching him. Hey, we all love knockouts, but they're not always there.
Sure, and that's not always everybody's style either. He's just 19 years old, and obviously has some pop. He has landed a few shots in this fight that you could tell have had some effect, although not knocked down has been Garagarza. But those things will come.
We're talking about a 19-year-old.
That's it, and just his 3rd professional fight, and he is right now content with boxing the brakes off, if you will.
Yeah, when he stays consistent, it's a beautiful thing. There's a couple lapses here and there, things to work on, but that's what this is about. Good body shot. I like when he uses the right hook to slide off and get out of harm's way. Once his back gets on the ropes, a lot of times he'll land either a right hook or a left hook and then roll out to that way, whatever punch he finished with, like that. Gets himself back to the center of the ring, gives him more real estate.
Stayed calm, stayed composed, all things that he mentioned he wanted.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds here inside the MGM Grand, we go to the judges' scorecards for the official decision. John McKay, Chris Migliori, and Dave Moretti all score the bout 40-36. For your winner by unanimous decision, Rashiem Jefferson!